I just matched with my dead wife on Tinder. I had numbly swiped left so many times in a row, I almost missed it. I wish I had. My wife Alison has been dead for 2 full years. Yet there she was, on Tinder, smiling at me, in a photo I'd never seen. All of the air went out the room. I skimmed through the rest of her profile. There was no writing, but 3 other pictures of my dead wife I'd never seen before, including one with the Statue of Liberty behind her, even though I knew she'd never been to New York City. At least to my knowledge. I swiped right and breathed for the first time in nearly 2 minutes. I struggled to sleep for the next 48 hours, never getting a match, ready to message Tinder and tell them someone was impersonating my beloved dead wife on their app and doing some kind of magical Photoshop to put in her pictures. The match came at 3:33 a.m, lighting up my phone. I was already awake. The match came with a message, just a simple, "Hi." The absolute worst in any situation, let alone this one. So true. I mashed the letters on my phone as hard and as fast as I could. Who is this? Why are you doing this? And where did you get these pictures of my wife? She died of cervical cancer 2 years ago, you monster.
Oh, that's so dark.
I had to wait for another 24 hours before I got an answer. It came in the middle of the night again. Derek, I miss you. I'm sorry for what happened. That was it. Sorry for what happened? She died of natural causes she in no way could have controlled. And was I supposed to believe that my dead wife's spirit decided to inhabit a Tinder profile and hit me up on it? I got another message as these thoughts ran through my head. Are you home? What? What the fuck? I got another answer before I could form my own. I'm outside. My blood ran cold.
Oh.
Something rattled in the darkness of my kitchen, and I jumped up and readied myself in bed and then realised it was just the ice dropping in the ice maker in the freezer.
Sorry? Is that something that happens?
Yeah.
On its own?
It's like
in big fridges. Wow.
Another message. Holy shit. Let me in, please. Fuck.
No. How about no?
What? Someone had to be fucking about with me, but who would be this impossibly cruel and diabolical? There may have been a couple of people who didn't like me at work, but no one would go anywhere near this far. Another message. Never mind, no more time for thought, just reading. Never mind. I got in. I heard the front door of my house close and I tightened up in my bed. I started to write back. Another message rang in before I could shoot mine off.
Rang in? What? Excuse
also,
me?
what are you shooting off, Derek? You're on Tinder too soon, Derry. The pet name only the two of us use between each other. Derry. The logistics of who knew that name flashed through my head as I heard footsteps approach my unlocked bedroom door. Then the footsteps stopped right outside. They were accompanied by a fresh message in my inbox.
Ding.
You were supposed to mourn me, not try to fuck 23-year-olds on Tinder. I realised right there that it was even following Alison's quirk to impeccably punctuate any kind of message, even if it didn't matter, putting the dashes into the 23-year-old. I spoke, finally. Alison, I'm sorry. I love you. I miss you. I've been sick to my stomach for 2 years, but I had to move on. Throughout most mornings for almost a year, I was wrecked. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything, but I'm finally starting to put it together. I pleaded into the wood of my bedroom door. My throat went dry. I couldn't speak anymore, too choked up, just like I'd been when I tried to give Alison's eulogy. I'm fucking sorry. Everything hurts. Every day. You're my only love. Forever. I couldn't hear or see anything, but I could sense someone out there on the other side of the door. Then I couldn't. Then I heard footsteps walk away.
Oh.
Then I heard my door close again. I checked the app. I had a message waiting for me. Okay. Goodbye. XO. I felt like my spine tried to climb out of my body. My entire being went numb. I couldn't feel anything other than an odd, disconnected pain. It was her. I walked out to the front door and looked outside. There were no signs of life. I went back to my phone in the bedroom. Alison's profile had been deleted. I felt okay. Until a couple of nights ago, after I came back from a date with a 26-year-old I met off Tinder.
Jerry!
Came home tipsy after a few drinks and a make-out session in my car. I was on a high. I'm
Are
sorry.
you fucking 17?
Yeah, he's obviously reverted back to his, like,
Fuck off, Derek.
high school jock face. I checked the app to see photos of the girl whose tongue had just been in my mouth and noticed that I had a new like. He's fucking minging.
I hate Derek so much. I hope he fucking dies.
I would haunt the fuck out of Derek.
I would mess around.
I'd come back.
So
yeah,
much.
you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I had a new like. I had my account on premium. Of course he fucking does. I had my account on premium so I could see who it was. It was Alison again, but with the same profile. She was only 1 mile away. I swipe right. Let's see where it goes.
Jesus Christ.
When I walked out my front door to go to work in the morning, I picked up my heel and looked down at a snuffed out robin that had just been underneath my boot. I thought nothing of it until I found another dead bird. This one, a fat brown little sparrow, deceased at my feet.
Mean.
The sparrow and the robin were just two of what looked to be a dozen dead birds strewn around the entry and front yard of my home.
Oh.
This couldn't have been an accident. My pet name for my wife was Birdie. I took the lead this time, messaging Alison on Tinder. Who is this really and why are you doing this? I've been through enough already. I had to sweat out the longest day of work of my life without an answer. I was numbly eating my signature dinner of spaghetti carbonara that I could make with just 5 ingredients in just 15 minutes.
No, not you
All right,
can make
show
it.
off.
That is the recipe, you
Yeah.
dickhead.
5 ingredients in just 15 minutes when I got it. I miss the smell of your carbonara. And it's me. I could tell you something that only I would know. Alison shot another message before I could reply. Your secret favourite song is All Too Well by Taylor Swift. Shit, I'd never told another soul that. And
Right, too.
another message from Alison before I could think more. I miss you so much, Derry. You really made my life special. I tried to hang on. You were the last thing I thought of, and it made me happy. I truly felt loved. I could feel your hand holding me strong. Sorry I couldn't hang on. My throat went dry, and tears fell on my phone screen as I read her message a few times. Those last moments we shared at her bed at the hospital, that rhythmic beep of the heart monitor still played in my head. I took my time to think out what to write back to her, now actually happy that she'd found some digital afterlife way to contact me.
Shut up. Shut up, Derek.
Derry. Alison, there's no way to properly write out how grateful I am for the life I was lucky enough to share with you.
Why is this getting so fucking sad?
He's choked up, isn't he? I miss everything about you. I miss the way I would catch you looking at me with starry eyes when I walked across the room. All right, presumptuous.
No, yeah, fucking hell.
She just wanted your carbonara, right?
I would look at you with starry eyes as well if you made your carbonara as good as it sounds.
I miss the way you talk, like you're telling someone a secret even when you're not. Oh, this is him. Even when you're not. I miss watching your... I miss watching your reflection on sunny hikes. Honestly, I can't write anymore. I'm sure you can feel what I feel. I know that. Sometimes I feel like you're still here. Even before
Why
this.
is he turned into Kevin from Kevin and Perry?
Alison replied in just the amount of time it would take someone to read that message twice. I have been there. What? Her message came across as eerie and endearing at the same time. She went on. You know when you set your keys down somewhere and then can't find them, and then they are somewhere you swear you never put them? Or when you feel like there were 5 shrimp in your stir-fry, and then suddenly there are only 4? Fucking hell, Alison.
To be fair, that
She's
is
been
annoying.
eating his shrimp. Scary.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt warmer all of a sudden while you're crying on a rainy night? It was at that moment I realised I hadn't turned the lights on in the house, but it was almost nightfall. I sat there in the dark, crying into my congealed spaghetti, wondering if Alison was watching me right there, or if this was just the world's cruelest prank. The buzz of another message nudged me in the dark. I'll step away. I'm sorry for causing you any grief. Alison XO. I let that sit there. It felt right. But I also had to do some housekeeping. The thought of Alison lurking over my shoulder and sifting through everything in our house dug a burning hole in the lining of my stomach. I grabbed my computer, went out to my car and drove into town.
Sorry, I'm still stuck on the like crying into his congealed spaghetti. Like, I love you forever. Anyway, the chores
Better get
themselves.
hoovering.
Yeah.
Yeah. I grabbed my computer, went out to my car and drove into town. Stopped in the parking lot of the nearest grocery store. I took out my computer and started deleting everything I would never want Alison to find on my computer or phone. Random old porn. Some pictures with a couple of flings I embarked on since she passed. It honestly wasn't that much. All right.
Fucking hell.
Okay.
Someone's defensive.
Yeah, getting a bit defensive, aren't you, Derry? I was back home in less than 20 minutes. Everything felt right until I went to open our bedroom door and found a small pair of red underwear wrapped around the handle. The image of their former owner burnt into my mind and turned my entire head red in a flash. I saw the girl in my mind. Small, bubbly, very drunk.
What a dirty bastard.
At the bar I went to with my high school friends, she was there with her friends from high school too. One thing led to another. We went back to my house and spent the night together. I think she could pick up on the sadness inside me and tried to cheer me up by leaving her racy underwear on the floor like she forgot them. I threw them somewhere in my closet and forgot about them, honestly. I started to panic. I started to think of a response, but I also started to feel like I had downed an entire bottle of Nyquil.
Oh, I wish you fucking would, Derry, you massive prick.
My thoughts got slow, my eyelids got heavy, every muscle in my body became sluggish. I felt drugged. I dropped down hard on the floor, unable to even make it to the bed. Lying on the floor, struggling to just stay awake, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. I used the last of my strength to reach into my pocket and get my phone out. I had a message from Alison, which I was able to read on my home screen. I'm glad I put what I did in your dinner when you weren't looking, after what I found when you left guilty.
I think that's fair enough.
We loved each other, Derry. Why did you do things like that? My final molecules of waking energy were enough for me to take in that message. Then I passed out. I woke up on the floor hours later, still groggy, but alive. The very first thing I did when I woke up was check Tinder. Alison's profile was deleted. I suffered a severe traumatic brain injury. At the beginning of June 2024, I suffered a severe traumatic brain injury. I fell head first 18 feet onto concrete.
Oh my God.
Fracturing my skull and eye sockets and falling unconscious on impact.
Oh, eye sockets.
There were a few complications to how the injury occurred, which I won't get into, but 999 was called.
Very intrigued though.
Since my injury, I've spoken to the police officers who arrived first on scene, who presumed me deceased when they arrived, and stated that they'd never been to a scene like that with the person surviving. Just to put into perspective how brutal the injury was. However, what happened to me, in brackets I can only assume as all of this was occurring, can only be described as an afterlife or out-of-body experience. Right. I woke up in an unfamiliar place and only remember being confused as to how I got there. Looking around, a woman was walking towards me. She was slim, tall, pale and very elegant. Thick, long, bouncy ginger hair and a long navy satin dress with a pattern of gold moons, suns and stars.
Oh.
She held my hands and helped me to stand up. I do not remember much of this experience, but I do remember feeling utterly at ease by her, with no concerns with where I was, like a familiar face that you've never seen before. She was the embodiment of peace. The rest of the story is what has affected me the most, so bear with me. There was some brief chit-chat between us until, finally, she asked, "What path would you like to choose?" Looking down, I saw myself laying on the ground, broken, bloody, and very much not alive. While I distinctly remember responding to seeing myself with a, ugh, I could recognise that it was myself, but I couldn't identify that it was something that actually had happened to me. Looking back at the woman, she said, "You can stay on this path."
Oh.
She then guided a hand behind her for me to look. What I saw behind her was an ethereal forest walk. A mossy pathway lined either side with trees, the sun rays sliding through gaps in them, illuminating the path. Without the knowledge of where I was or why, I made my choice with ease. To me, there was no rhyme or reason to choose my dead or dying battered body instead of this beautiful forest walk in front of me. She walked with me for a while down this path, and the rest I only know from what I mumbled to my mum when I came out of my 2-week medically induced coma. As I had had a plethora of tubes down my throat during that time, I had a very quiet and raspy voice, to which I spent most of my efforts saying please and thank you. But I told my mum that I kept saying renew, and told her that I was terrified of going back alone, and I was asking the woman to come with me, to which she would say to me, "You have to do this alone." I reflected on this happening to me for a while after my injury, debating on whether it was choosing between life or death and whatnot, but in the end came to the conclusion that she was a spirit guide, helping me to choose the right pathway. Before my injury, I had been making a lot of bad life choices, which ended with me getting my TBI. Right. I now often say, as morbid as it sounds, I needed that hard smack on the head to knock some sense into me. There's a lot more ahead and behind of this story, but I don't want to drag it out with the gory or unnecessary details for you guys. But I will tell you that in my room in the ICU, they'd asked me what I wanted to watch, to which I often, in my quiet, raspy voice, said, Ghost Hunts, please.
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated by near-death experiences. And the fact that, like, crossovers with people's testimony and the idea that she saw a path. That she could have chosen her body, but she chose the forest walk. And it was almost like she was being led away